A very pleasant good evening. It's time for Startup Talk from Indian River State College with the award-winning Tom Kindred.
Wait a minute, I didn't win any awards.
Well, you were standing there.
I was standing. That's right, I was standing there. So
Well,
I'm award.
a little
I won an
rubs
award.
off.
That's right, little rubs off. I like that. Welcome to another segment and installment of Startup Talk, the show designed to assist and help Treasure and Research Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. And as I always say, what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We will also spend time during our hour this evening to highlight and create awareness regarding the powerful and robust business assistance and support programs which exist right here in our communities at our very own Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred, the entrepreneur in residence at IRSC. Our show today, as always, is powered by the Coleman Foundation. Coleman Foundation is a private, independent foundation that focuses on entrepreneurial endeavors, and our very good friends at Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. How are you this evening, Greg?
Doing okay.
Yes, we did. We had a very productive trip to Houston, Texas for the 2015 National Association of Community College Entrepreneurship annual convention, annual gathering. It is a gathering of those state and community colleges and universities that are involved in entrepreneurship. About 450 to 500 were in attendance.
Wow.
And we had Gary Roberts and his wife Susan Roberts,
Sure.
the founders and owners and operators of Endless Summer Vineyard and Winery. Gary is an alumni of Indian River State College. He was recognized as Alumni Entrepreneur of the Year across the
I didn't
country.
know that college was that old.
Yeah.
Oh. He's going to get me for that.
Yes. He may get you for that one. And then we had, very exciting, we had two current Indian River State College students, Alfred and a young man by the name of Giovanni. They are both, Alfred is a business student. Giovanni is a microbiology student, and they were recognized as Student Entrepreneur of the Year by NACCE.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was great, and they actually won some money. So it's nice for them. It's good for them to win a little money. They're trying to continue to build their product and launch their product. They have created a new beverage. And the beverage is based on it's a mycelium-based beverage. It uses mushroom extract, and it's used. Tea is used as the base of the drink. So it's sort of like a energy, highly nutritional type beverage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So. Great stuff. I mean, really very proud and pleased with everybody, and everybody made it to the conference, and everybody was recognized. So IRSC was certainly highly recognized and highly visible at this year's NACCE conference.
Now, I did see photo evidence of you actually being there, but were you there at the Astros game? Was that a cutout of you, or were you actually at the Astros game?
Well, you know what? It was kind of funny you say that, because of course, I'm all tied up with trying to make sure people are getting into town and getting to the hotel and getting situated, and we had to do walkthroughs for the awards ceremony. So I'm all tied up with that, and I'm in the elevator, and I heard some folks talking about their friends who were there for the conference that snuck out one afternoon and actually went to a Houston Astros game, and I thought, wait a minute, that's right, they're here. So
and they're playing in the playoffs.
I know. Yeah. So, it's probably a good thing I had forgotten about all that. I might have tried to scalp some tickets and go over there too. I'd never, it's been years since I've been to Houston. I think the last time I went to Houston, the Astrodome was still there. So now it's called Minute Maid Stadium. It's a brand new stadium,
yep.
and when I drove by it resembles the Marlins Stadium. Has the retractable roof on it, I believe, and yeah. So there was a lot going on in town. I mean, it was a great time to be in Houston, and it was a great venue for the conference, and we actually filmed a segment of Startup Talk, the TV version, from Houston.
Very good.
Yeah. So we really it was a very productive conference for us, and I was just so proud and pleased that we were recognized with both the alumni and the student winners of this year's awards.
And of course, you've had the folks from NACE on this show.
Absolutely.
So,
They were with us very early on in this program, and they've been very supportive of this program, and I think they're very pleased with what we're doing in terms of spreading the word on entrepreneurship at the state and community college level. So
we'll have to get those students in here. And
we will. I thought about that the other night. Of course, it kind of hit me upside the head. I thought, well, here's a great opportunity for us to we'll bring Gary and Susan and the students on, and we'll talk about the conference and then talk about what they're doing too.
Sure.
And I was really very, we kind of coordinated the nominations. We didn't have anything to do with the selection, but we were requested to nominate folks for these categories, and I just couldn't have thought of a better guy to nominate than Gary. I knew Gary was an alumni, and I just I've always been so impressed with Gary and what he's done through his career.
Great work ethic.
Yeah, how he's reinvented himself too.
Yeah.
And it was, he was just like a lot of people. He started out in one business. The market changed. He changed with it. Market changed again on him. He changed again, and then to be as innovative as he's been to start a winery here, and really, he's certainly a guy that embraces what we call the lemonade principle, where he really kind of embraces the challenges. He doesn't let those hurdles stop him. He says, okay, how do we get around this? Well, he got around it by doing something totally new and outside the box, and it's been very successful. And even the winery, while it started out as a winery, he'll even tell you now it's turned into more of a venue business, so He's even really kind of opportunistic adaptation. He got in the winery business, then he saw another opportunity.
Well, and it's funny you say that. Mr. G, who does our morning show on WPSL radio, he does a lot of weddings, and he has done several weddings in the winery. Oh yeah.
Well, Gary, we talked about that. Gary said that it's become one of the most popular venues now for weddings. So. He really is just incredible story. So I just couldn't have been more happy when I was notified that he was selected as the Entrepreneur of the Year alumni category winner. So anyway, we had a good time. They flew out on Monday. We all had dinner together, and then Tuesday was a very big day at the conference. Tuesday was the day the students were recognized and Gary was recognized. Then we taped a segment of the show with them out there, taped a segment of the show with the new president and CEO of NACE, Rebecca Corbin. So anyway, a great time. So I appreciate you mentioning it, and appreciate you following the activity.
You bet.
As it came out. So anyway, with that, I guess we're in full swing in Pioneer basketball, I guess, now.
I'm doing my homework.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got 2 games on the weekend of the 30th. We've got Chipola College coming in with a brand new head coach up there.
Okay.
All of their coaches managed to go to Division I colleges, right? And so anyway, we had one coming back from a D1 college to head Chipola. And, they're going to be loaded as always. And then Santa Fe College looks like they're going to be very good. Okay. That'll be the team that comes in on Saturday at 4.
Okay.
So you'll be able to hear both games right here on WPSL.
All right. So we got basketball underway. We're in the middle, really, of women's volleyball.
And I didn't look at the stats.
Well, that's all right.
Sorry about that.
I'm just certain they're doing very well.
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'm kind of anxious to see how they wrap up. I mean, they really may be a contender nationally the way they've played so far.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Well, it's like Santa Fe and IRSC are like 1-2 in the state, or 2-1 depending on the week.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's exciting times in Pioneer sports.
You bet.
So we've had a great week for entrepreneurship at Indian River State College. We continue to have some good news in Pioneer sports. So with all that, tonight we're also going to have a very interesting show. I really have been looking forward to this show. Very interesting topic tonight. Tonight we have with us Mr. Richard Champagne of an organization and a company called FranNet. Richard serves as a vice president for FranNet, which is a professional business consulting firm that assists entrepreneurs find the right franchise opportunity. So tonight is all about franchising, a very, very popular topic among entrepreneurs and folks looking to start their own business. We've also got with us tonight in the studio, we've got Mr. George Greenstein, and Mr. Greenstein is a representative with SCORE who works very closely with Richard in the area of franchises. So, again, tonight's about franchising. I want to welcome you two with us tonight. Richard, you're out there?
I am here. Thanks for inviting me, Tom.
Yep.
Incidentally, I was impressed by the mention of the students who had invented a mushroom-based drink. Seems to me when I was younger, about their age, a long time ago, I seem to recall consuming some mushroom.
Oh, don't go. I was not going to go there.
I figured somebody had to say it.
Right. It's a little more scientific this time around. There's a little science behind it this time. And George, welcome into the studio tonight.
Thank you, Tom. Delighted to be here.
Yep. But before we get started in detail with our talk on franchising, which I'm very excited to get started on, so I want to quickly move into it, but I want to go ahead and give a quick update on a few upcoming training courses. Got, a very robust schedule of upcoming training classes in the month for the rest of the month of October. We've got an excellent business plan course. For those that have decided to open their own business, now you must take the step of putting your thoughts down on paper. We're going to have up at Captain Hiram's on October the 20th, which is next Tuesday, from 9:30 in the morning till 11:30. Again, that is free, brought to you by SCORE and SBDC. Also on October the 21st, same seminar up in Lakewood Park Library in Fort Pierce, and that'll be an evening event, 5 to 7:30 p.m.
See, my problem, if I was at the Captain Hiram's event,
yeah,
I might come up with a business plan. I may not remember it, though.
That's right.
Too much mushroom.
You might have a mushroom drink up there at Captain Hiram's and forget your whole business idea. Again, one of a seminar that I always like to highlight. It's brought to you by the United States Postal Service, How to Grow Your Business in Days. The United States Postal Service, partner with Indian River State College and SCORE, host a free, valuable workshop on ways direct mail can energize your business by generating new customers. That will take place down at our Chastain campus in Stewart on October the 22nd, 5:30 in the evening. Again, no charge for that. We have a Facebook intensive. So if you've taken that entry-level social media class from Leanna Haig, which we've talked about many, many times on this program, the importance of social media, the importance of launching businesses, understanding social media. If you've taken that initial class, then this is the one for you. This is more of an intensive, high-level Facebook class. Again, Leanna's our instructor on that. That'll take place on October the 22nd. On main campus from 9 to 12 in the morning on that one. Then at the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce on October the 23rd, we have Marketing Your Business. If you're currently running a business, own or operate a business, and you believe that you're the best kept secret in town, or you're just not getting the amount of business you think you should, then this is a good course for you. Marketing Your Business. St. Lucie County Chamber on October the 23rd, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That is also free. Then again, same seminar on October the 28th, again at the Lakewood Park Library. Again, 5:30 in the evening till 7:30, and again free, brought to you by our friends at SCORE and SBDC. The CCTI will put on a Excel class. This class will introduce sorting, filters, handling and printing of large worksheets, custom formatting of cells, data, validation and conditional formatting, workshop functions, worksheet functions. Again, a great course. Excel can be used to, do budgeting, to do pro formas, to do forecasting. A very powerful program that's needed in every business. That'll take place on the main campus, October the 27th. Again, two evening classes on that. And then we've got an interesting course coming up, Income Tax Reduction. Made easy for business owners. How to stop overpaying your income tax.
Not taught by the IRS, I think.
No, I don't even know if it's endorsed by the IRS, yes. Income taxes are the forever bill. They never amortize or end. You will pay income taxes after you are dead on your final tax return. So take place on the Mueller campus in Vero Beach, October the 27th and 29th. There is a charge for that course, brought to you by the CCTI. And then the last thing, of course, I want to mention, as I have been mentioning, we've got the 2015 annual SBDC, Small Business Development Center Business Summit, celebrating women and diversity in business. Again, it is time for the 2015 annual Business Summit. Summit is marketed to businesses throughout the four-county area, along with print and social media distributed throughout the region. Great opportunity to network and mingle with the business community throughout the Treasure Coast. They've got all kinds of speakers and all kinds of workshops. That will take place on the Chastain campus down in Stewart on October the 29th. 8:30 a.m. till 3:30 p.m. All kinds of speakers, lunch, $29, folks. And seats are limited, and I believe they've sold half the seats up till now, so only half the seats remain.
Your wife has picked out a nice dress for you, by the way.
She has?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, so I can go?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can sneak in?
That's right.
So there are your
We could do a
upcoming...
television segment there.
We could. We could do that.
Sure.
So, again, most important details to remember regarding these training sessions is that most, certainly the ones provided by SCORE and SBDC, are free. There is no cost to attend, nor is there ever any cost to engage the SBDC or SCORE and one of their consultants. I tell folks all the time, back when I was in business, if I had taken the time to become engaged in and participate in these business assistance programs offered at Indian River State College, I am confident I could have been a better manager, owner, and operator. The college, its president, Dr. Massey, and the board of trustees have done an incredible job of building what I always refer to as a powerful one-stop shop for business assistance and support through what we call the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute. That institute is made up of the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, the Business Incubation Program, and the Corporate and Community Training Institute. You can always get more information on the Institute and that complete listing that I just went over of upcoming trainings at IRSC Biz. That's IRSCBIZ.com. And I encourage you to check out the events calendar. And as always, a big thank you to the SBDC and to SCORE and their consultants for the work they perform in assisting and supporting our region's business community. All right. So, Greg, anything else I need to know before we get to our incredible guest tonight?
No, let's do it.
All right, I'm ready. I want to hear this. Let me introduce first Mr. Richard Champagne. Richard joined FranNet in 2000 and was the owner of the Tampa area franchise for FranNet. Basically monitored and ran Central Florida. He was appointed VP of the FranNet organization in 2004 and served as its VP in charge of inventory, basically talking about which franchises the company would represent. He left FranNet in 2009 to help start a new franchise company called Big Frog Custom T-Shirts, which is a very successful operation. Greg is nodding yes.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
He returned to FranNet in 2014, working with the franchises in South Florida, and he now covers the southern third of the state as a consultant, helping people find the right fit in a franchise business. You could call Richard one of our textbook serial entrepreneurs. Richard has more than 30 years of experience in the field of franchising and has assisted more than 1,000 folks start a franchise and achieve the dream of business ownership. On a personal note, in addition to attaining his law degree, which we won't hold that against him, Rick earned a BA in economics. Rick has been a Big Brother in the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization for more than 20 years and proudly served as a medic in the U.S. Army Reserves. He has a wife, daughter, and I believe 2 grandchildren. Welcome to the show, Rick. You there?
I am. Thank you very much once again.
Yep.
He's our first serial franchiser guest.
That's right. That's right. And he and mushroom consumer too. We've also got with us Mr. George Greenstein. Mr. Greenstein had a 30-plus year corporate career with IBM. He started as an engineer and worked his way up to corporate VP of procurement. He has been with SCORE since 1999. He's served multiple times as chapter chair, and he is a certified mentor. So welcome to the show again, George.
Thank you.
So again, we got a very powerful panel tonight. So let's get started. Now, I gave a pretty good background on you, Rick, but maybe you can fill in if I left anything off. Rick, give us a little background on yourself.
Well, the one thing I want to do is defend my relatively brief career as an attorney. I stopped practicing law for two reasons. There were two things I didn't care for. One was attorneys, and the other was clients.
Okay, well, that wasn't going to work at all, Rick. That wasn't going to work at all as a career for you.
I got into a second career in healthcare and did that for over a dozen years. Started in franchising 34 years ago. As you indicated, I have helped a little more than 1,000 people get into business ownership in that 34-year period. Would like to be around long enough to help another 1,000 if I could.
Good. George, quickly fill in where I missed off, where I left off with you and your background.
Well, most of my career, as you mentioned, was IBM, but I did take a couple of time periods out, a total of 6 years, 3 of them in a family-owned business, and 3 in my own business, started from scratch and sold that. It was a photo offset printing business, so it gives me a little bit of exposure on both sides, the big picture of a corporation, as well as what the little guys have to go through.
So did you ever get a job at a real big company? Oh, IBM.
Yeah, I did.
Wow, IBM. Good grief.
So, Rick, talk to us a little bit about FranNet. I'm excited to really kind of understand. I obviously have been to the website, obviously have looked to see what FranNet is on the surface, but kind of help us out. What is FranNet and purpose, mission, goals of the company?
Well, we're about a 30 to 40-year-old organization that's now based in Louisville, Kentucky. We are international in scope. We're all over the United States and Canada. We have presence in England. We have presence in Germany, and growing beyond that. We have roughly 125 to 150 consultants helping people to find the right fit in a franchise business. Incidentally, we've worked with SCORE and the SBDC for just about 30 years now.
Yeah.
We've been partners with them.
Okay. And George, real quickly too, as we get underway here, before we take our first break, tell us again, SCORE, mission, goals?
Well, SCORE has been around since 1964, and in the Treasure Coast since 74. So we've been around a long time. We're resource partners with the Small Business Administration, as the SBDC is.
Right.
And our goal is to help small business. We've
Right.
all been there before. We've been through the trials and tribulations of running a business and growing a business
Right.
and failing a business.
Right.
And that experience, I think, is invaluable, and we all want to, as volunteers, give back. Our
Right.
chapter has 27 current volunteers, and SCORE nationally has about 340 chapters and 11,000
Wow.
volunteers. So somewhere in this vast array of skills, there's somebody who can help you. And
Yeah,
if we
absolutely.
don't have it in our chapter, we can usually find it.
Okay. All right. So you know what? At that point, let's. It's a perfect time to take a quick break, and we will come back and we'll get right to franchising.
Express Printing in Port St. Lucie is proud to present Startup Talk from Indian River State College. You see Express Printing in its new US 1 location in the Chris Plaza, just south of the Boulevard across from Walmart, is the one-stop shop for entrepreneurs throughout the Treasure Coast. Whether you're starting a business or building one, Express Printing can offer insight on how to separate you from your competition. Let Express Printing help you rebrand your business as well. The backbone of America is its entrepreneurial spirit, shared by Express Printing and Indian River State College. Express Printing in a newer and larger facility to assist entrepreneurs. Express Printing, 878-7975. That's 878-7975. Express Printing, Look for the red sign that says, "We come to you."
Are you looking to build a technical career that offers good pay and growth opportunities? Then register today for Indian River State College's Fast Track to Manufacturing program and earn your way to a rewarding and challenging career. Daytime classes begin July 5th in Martin County. Coursework will include industry measurement and equipment training, basic blueprint reading, and hands-on lab training. Upon completion of the course, students have the opportunity to earn a nationally recognized industry certification. Partnering with local manufacturers, the Fast Track program offers students a direct link to local manufacturers and job opportunities. Start earning more by launching a career in advanced manufacturing through IRSC's Fast Track to Manufacturing program. For more information, contact Gail Shore at 462-7817 or visit irscbiz.com. Full scholarships available for qualified students. Earn more with a career in advanced manufacturing. Call 462-7817 for IRSC's Fast Track to Manufacturing program. And we are back, and this is Startup Talk. I am Tom Kindred, the entrepreneur in residence at Indian River State College, and tonight the subject is franchising. Very popular subject amongst entrepreneurs and those who would like to start a business. So, without further ado, Rick, let's get right down to business. What is the value of owning your own business, you think, Rick?
Well, I think that varies from person to person. Everybody has their own rationale. The ones that I hear most commonly are to control one's own destiny and greater income possibility. People are tired of making money for someone else,
right? And
they would like the opportunity to use that same effort to make additional funds for themselves.
Right. What obviously we're here to talk about franchising, but what are some of the various ways people can go into business?
You can build a business from scratch on your own. The benefit there, no rules, you're in total control, but you've limited your financial options. You may have to create a new system from scratch. The ramp up is slow, and most importantly, the failure rate is off the charts.
Right. I can tell you it's 30 to 40%, as a matter of fact. And maybe even a little higher than that.
Really?
I commend George for having done it on his own and had the opportunity to phase out of it on his own.
Yes.
People can buy an existing business. The people are already in place. There's some cash flow possibly. There may even be owner financing that comes along with that. However, there are often hidden seller motives, a lack of training. You might say there are sometimes 3 sets of books, one for the IRS, one for showing you the potential buyer, and one for the actual owner so he knows what he really is making.
Yeah.
And all 3 can be very different.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Amen. Florida is unfortunately an unkind state for people buying an existing business. There's a fair amount of, should I say, conniving going on, and I've often suggested to my clients that the only way I personally would buy an existing business would be if I had read that the owner had passed away recently and I was able to directly interview the grieving widow and make awfully certain she was crying actual tears.
Right.
Third possibility.
And again, Rick, I think it's worth pointing out. It really is. And I think the obvious advice there is that if you are looking to buy a business, that you do contract with some expert accounting firm, accountant to help you review those books and those accounting records. I'm assuming that would be the advice you would give, I guess, George.
Absolutely.
Right.
But see, that's not fair with Rick, because if the widow was not grieving,
right,
he could defend her as a lawyer. So he wins. He wins no
either way.
What.
Okay, yeah.
But he doesn't like clients.
That's right.
Not to mention handle the estate.
Right.
Exactly.
So you were going to tell us another way to acquire a business, to go into business.
Well, the third way, of course, is to buy a franchise business, a startup franchise. There's over a dozen things that franchisors bring to the table. Perhaps they bring the brand name. They certainly bring a system. They're going to train you. They know how to market their product or their service. The failure rate is remarkably low. It's the lowest of any possible way of owning a business. And the most important thing really is the collective experience of all of the franchisees and the franchisor that has gone before.
Right.
You're basically watching When you buy into a franchise, you get the benefit of everything that's happened prior to you showing up, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. All of it will help to educate you to be a better, more successful business owner.
Right. Well, and that really is a great point about franchises. One I never even really thought of. You really are. You're getting the benefit of all the challenges, hurdles, and failures that the franchise has been through along the way.
If a franchise company told me they hadn't ever made any mistakes, I would laugh in their face. Of course they have, and they are anxious to pass those mistakes along to you to make sure that you don't commit them.
All right. And again, kind of a question for both of you. And I feel pretty strongly today about a new sort of business model in the new economy, let's say, where it is important, I think, sometimes for a person who's interested in owning and operating their own business, for some period of time that they sort of keep their day job, they keep their daytime job, and maybe they slowly start this business on the side and get it up and running, and then feel like they've obviously mitigated some of the possibilities for failure, and then launch full time into the business. I mean, now is that somewhat, could someone maybe go into franchising in that regard, hold on to the job a little longer than just jumping out of the steady regular job and owning their own business?
There are three types of ownership, or operation rather, of a franchise. The first, and perhaps in many ways the most common, is owner-operator. This is where the operator, the owner of the business, is actively engaged in providing the service or the product to the customer. The owner may have employees as well, but the owner is in there kicking up the dust right alongside of his or her employees.
Right.
Then there's the owner-managed model. This is where the owner is probably involved 40 hours a week in the operation of the business, but maybe sitting in the back room much of the time, working more on the business than in the business, supervising employees who are providing the service or the product. The third method, and we have quite a few of these kinds of franchises, they're proliferating all over the place, are what we call semi-absentee. This is a business model where the owner is not involved in providing the service or the product, is not generally involved in interacting with the customer at all, maybe occasionally, but it would be rare, and is maybe not even on the premises of the business,
right?
But rather is keeping the full-time day job while operating the business on the side. And it is an excellent way to get into business.
Well, I was very curious about that.
Okay. You owned your own business.
Correct.
Obviously, Carol and I have owned this for 23 years. Right. You were very hands-on, and
certainly,
so are we.
Certainly.
I don't
well,
know.
I think this is unique to franchises, and I know where Greg is going with the comment is, how can you own a business and not be involved? But I think, Rick, like you're saying, I think that really is becoming a popular model where you buy a franchise, you hire management, you hire employees, and basically you look, like you say, you're looking at the broad strokes, revenue, expense coverage, but yet you're still holding on to that steady income on the backside as you grow the franchise. Is that a fair assessment of what you're saying there?
Precisely, and it's become more popular recently. When we had the two financial debacles in the 2000s, people got laid off and they wanted something to do, and they would buy a business and operate it. Today, hiring is back, perhaps not with a vengeance, but pretty good. People have jobs again, but they're all too aware of the vagaries that are involved in working in corporate America. Right. They understand they could lose their job, so they're more and more anxious to develop a revenue stream on the side that is steady and dependable. Right. An example of this would be to own and operate one or more haircutting salons, for example. In this state, you have to be licensed to cut hair. The owner isn't going to do that. There's no reason for the owner to stand in front of the cash register and smile at people and take their $12. And yet we have lots and lots of people who have full-time employments in corporate America who own a string of either Supercuts or Great Clips or some of the other good franchises out there in the haircutting industry.
Okay. George, what's your take on all this?
Well,
you seen a little more of that?
it's certainly a good model if you've got the capital to pull it off. And so if you're still working and you have cash, and it's certainly a good way to do it. But if you don't, then it's hard.
Well, also the way I view that type of model too is, does that not assist the business owner at the end of the year with some tax relief? You own the business; it allows you to reduce tax liability.
Potentially.
Okay. All right, Rick, is that part of it?
If you don't have a creative accountant and you're a business owner, you need to fire your accountant.
All right. So, Rick, you're the expert. What constitutes a franchise? Define it for us.
Franchise is a form of business opportunity. Business opportunity is the umbrella over lots and lots of different types of business ownerships, dealerships, licenses, multi-level marketing, franchising being two very commonly known varieties. The only one of those that is closely regulated by Uncle Sam is franchising. In fact, we're one of the most heavily regulated industries in the United States, right along with the securities industry. Although we are regulated, we are overseen by the Federal Trade Commission. In order for a business opportunity to be considered a franchise, there must be 4 elements present. Element number 1 is that the purchaser of these alleged franchise must pay an upfront fee of $500 or more, typically a great deal more,
right?
But at least $500. Number 2, there's some sort of ongoing payment that is made to the franchise company, either in the form of a percentage, perhaps a flat monthly amount. Maybe they're forced to buy product from the franchise company itself, and that satisfies that second requirement. The third requirement is fairly typical of most business opportunities, and that is that you're using the franchise company's business model. You're using their operating system. If you buy a McDonald's, they're going to tell you how to operate that business in order to maximize your income. And finally, the fourth and equally important element that constitutes a franchise is that you're using the trade name of the franchise company. There are no McDonald's out there that aren't called McDonald's.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
It's interesting you mentioned McDonald's. 2 sports agents in Los Angeles, Marvin Demoff, Lee Steinberg, they both urged their players while they were still playing, and he had a deal going at the time with Ray Kroc at McDonald's to buy franchises in their hometowns. And there was one Atlanta Falcon player who had like 7 or 8 franchises in Atlanta. And by the time he retired, he was set for life,
right?
You know? And which was good. It was good financial planning on the agent's part to get all this done.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
And that kind of goes back. I mean, I realize athletes have
a long
lots
time
of
ago.
disposable.
That's the disposal.
Income.
Make use of the asset.
Make use of the asset.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
And protect the assets long term.
Right.
Yes.
Now, Rick, you touched on it earlier, but again, let's reiterate it one more time. You know, specifically, why is a franchise safer in terms of versus that starting your own? Let's say. I mean, give us some of those benefits.
There are really 2 things that go into the equation. The first one, of course, is all of the things that the franchise company brings to the table to help you, including that shopping list of things we talked about before. Most importantly, the collective experience that has gone on before you showed up.
Right.
In addition, about 40 years ago, when franchising was in some chaos, the United States government empowered the Federal Trade Commission to oversee franchising. I'll be brief on this. I could pontificate about what I'm about to say endlessly, but I'm not being paid by the hour, so I won't do that.
That's all right. We have 7 hours to go. So
the Federal Trade Commission has issued their so-called rule on franchising. And the essence of that rule is that at least 14 days before someone is allowed to buy a franchise, the franchise company, or franchisor as we call it, must issue to the prospective franchise buyer, or franchisee as we call it, a legal document that's often 200 or 300 pages long, known as an FDD, which stands for Franchise Disclosure Document. In this document is just a tremendous amount of valuable information to help the prospective franchisee determine whether this is a good fit for them or not, whether they like the business or not. I could start enumerating the 23 items that are in there. The bottom line is the entire history, financial condition, and all costs and expenses of operating the business must be laid out for the prospective franchisee. When I say financials, I'm not talking about the financials of operating a franchise, but rather the financials of the franchisor. Furthermore, and probably most importantly, and I can't emphasize this enough, there is in this document a list of all of the current and past franchisees of the franchise company. So you can call them at random and say, how do you feel about this business? Are you doing well? Define doing well. Tell me what that really means. What does it look like? What do I have to do in order to hit a home run with this business? I want to make an observation, and I think it's an important one to understand versus franchising versus employment. If you go to interview for a job and the interviewer is extolling the virtues of working at this company, if you stop that interviewer in the middle of the interview and you say, you know, I wonder, sir, if you would mind, I certainly understand your enthusiasm for working here, but I wonder if you would give me the home phone numbers of all of your current and past employees. I'd like to call them at random and see if they agree with your enthusiasm. I can guarantee you two things. You're not going to get a list like that from the interviewer, and you're not going to get the job offer either.
Right.
In franchising, that is mandatory. You must be given that information.
Right.
And you won't get that when you try to buy a business independently on your own, and you're certainly not going to get it when you start one.
Right.
There's nothing like that in existence.
Right. Well, and it's interesting you talk about that because I remember, thank goodness for a banker friend of ours, when we were given everything supposedly by the previous owners of WPSL, and he says, "Oh, by the way, you don't want any of these receivables because you're not going to collect." And thank goodness for the banker, because
he knew that.
He knew that. Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, is a franchise, when you call that franchisee, is it? And I'm assuming most structures or LLCs or C corps they're obviously not traded publicly. Are they required to give you the information if you called them randomly? Might some of them say, we prefer not to give you that information? Or do you find that most times they're willing to give you that information?
The feedback I get is that about 10% either don't take your call or don't have time to talk. About 80% will talk to you for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and then there's 10% at the other end who will bend your ear until you beg to hang up.
Right.
Opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody has one, and you're going to hear it from franchisees, and nobody's telling them what to say, and if somebody told them what to say, they would spit in their ear.
Right. Okay, well, listen, we're going to take a quick break, but I'm looking forward to coming back. I want to talk about how we find all these franchises that are available out there. So with that, we'll be right back. Stay tuned for more Startup Talk. Are you looking to build a technical career that offers good pay and growth opportunities? Then register today for Indian River State College's Fast Track to Manufacturing program and earn your way to a rewarding and challenging career. Daytime classes begin July 5th in Martin County. Coursework will include industry measurement and equipment training, basic blueprint reading, and hands-on lab training. Upon completion of the course, students have the opportunity to earn a nationally recognized industry certification. Partnering with local manufacturers, the Fast Track program offers students a direct link to local manufacturers and job opportunities. Start earning more by launching a career in advanced manufacturing through IRSC's Fast Track to Manufacturing program. For more information, contact Gail Shore at 462-7817 or visit irscbiz.com. Full scholarships available for qualified students. Earn more with a career in advanced manufacturing. Call 462-7817 for IRSC's Fast Track to Manufacturing program. And we are back. This is Startup Talk. I am Tom Kindred, entrepreneur in residence at Indian River State College, and we are talking franchise with two experts tonight, Mr. Rick Champagne of FranNet and Mr. George Greenstein of the local SCORE chapter. So in our few minutes left here, let's quickly move through. I want to talk now, Rick, how does one get a look at all the available franchise opportunities out there? Is there a website way you go in, and a book or something you can get that says here's everything that's available?
The International Franchise Association has a website. Most franchise companies are members of the IFA, although not all of them, and you can find lists there. You can buy various books, including Franchising for Dummies. You can do all sorts of things like that, and I will tell you point blank, that's a mistake to do. There's 3,200 franchises in the United States in over 100 industries. You're looking, if you're wanting to own your own franchise business, you're looking for one.
Right.
You're not looking for 3,200, and trying to wade your way through that huge mass of franchise companies is a serious mistake.
All right. So great point. So I'm going to assume that Fran Ned and Rick Champagne kind of start from the other side. You look at the person and then build into the right franchise. Is that correct?
That is, Tom. I'm glad you asked, because that's what I do. The only good reason to buy a franchise is because it's a great fit for you. It's no different from buying a house. You want that house to be in the right school district, the right general geographical area, the right price range, the right number of bedrooms and bathrooms. So a real estate agent helping you find a house is going to plug that into a computer, and out pops 5 houses.
Right.
I wish what I did was that simple. It's not, but it's similar in that I've got to get inside the head of the prospective owner and figure out what's a good fit for them. What would a business look like if it was just right for them?
All right. And what are some of those questions you ask? Geographic, economic, available, cash to put in? What are some of the questions that you'll ask to make the fit?
We're going to talk about probably the single most important thing is how do you want to acquire customers and how do you want to initially interact with them? But also important are things like how many employees do you want, and if so, of what variety, if any? What kind of a facility do you want to be based in? What kind of money are you comfortable investing? What kind of money do you need to make?
So really, by the time somebody is finished with their initial review with you, you come back with this very tight, so to speak, fit between a potential franchise and a potential franchisee.
Exactly. And in fact, before I come back to them with a list of what might be a handful of franchises that I think are a great fit for them, I'm also going to have made sure that those franchises are available in their own backyard.
Right.
So that they're not investigating a franchise that isn't available, and they would be disappointed at the end of their search.
Now, go ahead.
Are there any areas for franchises that are better than others?
Many franchises require a certain demographic to be successful. Some don't, many do. For example, a haircutting franchise does not require a demographic other than the fact that people need to have hair.
Right.
Whereas a financial planning franchise or something that caters to the upscale, or for that matter, something else that caters to the economically downscale, would do better in certain areas.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. So you're looking at the target market, you're looking at the segments of the market, and trying to fit the required demographic of the business to the marketplace.
I'm trying to fit the required demographic to the desire of the client. Some prospects for a franchise want to deal with consumers.
Right.
In one demographic or another. Some want to deal only with business people. So it really depends on what the prospect wants.
It really depends on, and again, you even mentioned employees. So let's say the prospective franchisee doesn't want a lot of employees, wants the kind of franchise he can run by himself. That would be something you would try to fit and match.
We have several that fit that category. I know that when I supervised people, I was always considered to be an excellent employer, an excellent manager, and the truth of the matter was I hated it. And I decided a long time ago I don't want to have employees, so I don't.
Right. Okay.
Just don't buy a Supercuts in the skinhead area of Idaho.
That's absolutely correct. Don't buy a Supercuts if you don't want employees.
All right. What about strategies available when owning a franchise? What are you looking at as far as business strategies?
Well, the truth of the matter is I don't get involved in the strategy of operating the business. I turn that over. Once the client is turned over and has selected a franchise, I'm out of the picture.
Right.
I believe that George probably has some involvement in that area.
Right.
Surely.
Yeah. What are some of the strategies involved in the franchise business?
Well, it really depends on the business you buy. Every business is going to have a different market,
Right.
a different set of services and products that it's offering, and the strategies will vary depending on whether the target market is consumers or it's business to business, or it's a service business or a product business.
Right.
So you really got to look at what are we talking about,
Right.
and what does the owner really want to focus on.
Right. And that kind of goes back to what Rick says, really what the desires are of the potential franchisee.
Exactly.
So now, again, Rick, kind of quickly as we close here, what are there businesses? Is FranNet the type of operation that helps people create the fit, make the match? And are there charges? Do companies like FranNet charge for this service?
I can't speak for other companies that do this sort of thing. We invented the industry, and we made a decision a long time ago that we will not charge our clients anything for the service. So I do a whole lot of work for any given one of my clients, many, many hours of labor, and I do not charge for that.
All right. So
By the way, you were talking about strategies. The one nice thing about owning a franchise is your exit strategy is substantially easier
Right.
with a franchise, and much easier to sell a franchise business than one that's independently owned.
Because it's got the branding, it's got the operations, all the reasons to go into one are the very reasons that it's easier to sell. Is that correct?
That and the fact that you can also find out the real set of books by contacting the franchisor.
Okay, right.
And ask them what's the real skinny on this particular franchise operation that you want to buy.
So if someone's interested, real quickly as we close, how does one find FranNet?
Well, they would want to find Rick Champagne. The easiest way to remember this, since most people are listening probably in their car, is just remember FloridaFran.com. Florida spelled out, Florida, Fran, Fran.com. That takes you to my website with my business partner, FranNet of South Florida.
Okay.
Or if you have a pencil and paper, jot down my number, 813-920-0100. Happy to receive phone calls. You don't need an appointment for that.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, Rick and George, thank you so much for tonight. What a great program on franchising. Thank all of you for tuning in tonight, and we'll talk to you next Thursday on Startup Talk.
You're listening to WPSL, Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, and WSTU Stewart, serving Martin County for more than 60 years.